Hey guys, it's Steph here again today, and today is just going to be a short video of my January, February, and March wrap-up, because I'm actually not going to finish a book again in March, because I have reached my goal already for the month, so I'm going to wait until April. So first off, let's start with January. So January, I actually finished Young Scrooge, which I started reading around Christmas time. I finished this like January 2nd. It's a really short middle grade book. It's really awesome. It's about a boy. His last name is Scrooge, and he gets made fun of because they read A Christmas Carol. And it's actually like a monster, like the ghost of the future ghost that actually haunts him, and it's an R.L. Stine book, so it has that like scary kind of vibe to it, but it's a really quick read. I read it in about 3 days once I actually started reading it. It's really super great. It is pretty well written as well. There's not really many R.L. Stine books that I don't like. I'm going to try to read more of his books this year, so that's the first one. Next up, what I did was I finished reading it once I got my own copy finally. I've been trying to find the movie cover one, and I finally found it. I read about half of this about 3 or 4 years ago, and I decided to continue reading it. So I finally got this book finished. It actually took me part of December and almost the entire month of January to read it. Next up, I'll put the artwork over here somewhere. Next up, I read Salem Burning by Daniel Sugar. It was actually a really quick ebook. I got it for free. I read it as part of a really quick book challenge, a reading challenge on Instagram. The book that what do you call that? The topic of the book was a book about witch trials. So this book was about witches from the Salem trials, and pretty much what happened was when they tried to burn the witches, they came back. They didn't die. So that was a really good book. The next book I read was The Eyes of Abel. It was about a photographer that was kind of like evil in his photos. Photos he took were like not very nice photos. And it was just about his like life and trying to get away from this guy that is stalking him. It was a really fun read. It was a lot of pages though. And I kind of got in not so much interested in it about halfway through the book, so I ended up not reading it entirely. Because I just fell out of love with it. It was a good book in the beginning, but then it started kind of getting too detailed, and I don't really care for books like that. So the next book I read was Restoration. I got this as a free giveaway on Goodreads. I read the entire book. It was so good. It was so well written. It was about like in the future colonies, where if you die, they can freeze your body, and then they can unfreeze you in so many years, and you can come back alive. But it's actually against the law to do that, and this girl ends up bringing back her grandfather, and they're pretty much trying to run from the I forget what the name of the organization is, but it's kind of like the FBI of that year. It's like 2030 something or 2050 something. But it was a really good book. I definitely recommend it. The next book I listened to was Scrappy Little Nobody by Anna Kendrick. I got this actually from the Libby app, which is the app that my library offers. So it looks like this. And what you do is you click on library and you just search what you're looking for. So say let's just do Girl Wash Your Face. It'll show you whether you can get it as a Kindle book or you can get it as an audiobook. And they're completely free for me to read because I use my library card. The next book, which again, the Anna Kendrick book was amazing. It's actually read by her. So reading or listening to it was so enjoyable because it was like her telling me about her life, and it had her personality in it, and it was just an awesome, really funny book. I read it, or actually I listened to it in 3 days. And it was like 14 hours or something like that. So it wasn't a super long audiobook, but it was a really awesome listen. The next book I tried to listen to was Into the Water. I just did not like the way that the audiobook was for that specific book, because there are too many characters that they're trying to portray, and I couldn't keep up with the audio. So I decided to stop reading it. I may end up picking up the book itself and reading it as a physical copy, because I did kind of like the storyline of it when I read the synopsis. But as for listening it to an audiobook, I don't recommend it. The next book I read was a reread. I read To Kill a Mockingbird again, just because it's part of a reading challenge that I did to read a classic, so decided to read that. The next book I decided to read was The Dark Hills Divide, which is a library book, as you can see. I decided to read this series because I really loved the series as a child. It's a middle grade series. So far, I have read The Dark Hills Divide and Beyond the Valley of Thorns. There's actually 3 other books. My library actually does not carry them, so I'm either going to have to pay for them or stop reading the series, which kind of stinks because I really do enjoy the series. The only thing is for some reason my library doesn't carry them. I don't know what the big deal is about them not wanting to carry them, but yeah. So far it's a pretty good series. I can't really tell you much about it because I don't want to like give away much, but they're pretty good books. They're very well written for middle grade, and they're really quick reads. I read both of them in about a week, so definitely recommend this series so far, but there is 5 books of the series as far as I know. Next up, I read, well, not really read, but kind of skimmed through the Unofficial Harry Potter Cookbook. I got it for free on Kindle Unlimited, because I pay $10 a month for Kindle Unlimited, which is really awesome because I read quite a lot now that I have that. So that was really cool. It had a lot of really awesome like Harry Potter inspired recipes, which I definitely recommend because it was a lot of fun to read. The next book I read was Sales Tough, which was actually a self-improvement book from work. I actually won it during a training seminar. It was pretty much just like how to be more customer focused in the sales world. It was a really quick read. It was a lot of fun. Next up, I read The Complete Ketogenic Diet for Beginners. I actually got this free as well on Kindle Unlimited. I'm actually doing the keto diet, which I think I mentioned in other videos. But it has been working really awesome for me. I've lost 17 pounds in 22 days. It's super easy to follow, and this book helped me out so much. It's definitely something to get if you want to try the keto diet. It gives you 5 tips on the best and easiest way to stick to the keto diet. So it's a lot of fun to read. And last but not least, my last book I just read was The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying by Maria Kondo. I actually started reading this after I watched the Netflix series. So I definitely think that the book is not as great as the series. Of course, that is often the case, but reading it really inspired me to better my life and to organize better. Some of the things that she talks about, as for like if you touch an item, like say I pick up this item and I don't feel exactly like excited about it, I don't feel joy, to get rid of it. And I did that, and I purged everything. I purged books, notebooks, clothing, makeup, everything, and I feel so much better. It was like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. So I definitely recommend that you either watch the series on Netflix or read the book. Both are great, and it's got a great information, but I do prefer the Netflix series a little bit better. So that is everything. Right now I'm actually reading this. It's actually a textbook. I am trying to learn how to be a manager or a supervisor of my customer care department because I would like to eventually go up in my career a little bit. So as you can see, I've been tabbing different sections. So this book's actually going to take me a while to get through and read. So I didn't actually add it to my TBR because it is just like a textbook. But so far I have been having a lot of fun reading it, and it's very inspirational. It gives me a lot of information on how to better myself. And that's pretty much it, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know my wrap-up videos aren't as awesome as other people's. This is actually, I think, the first wrap-up video I've ever really done. So if you guys have any advice on how to make them better or what I can add, please let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking for self-development to be better for you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!